later. Lisa, you handed out minutes, agendas. We thought maybe everybody'd like to have an agenda, so it's just something we're trying if you want to have something to follow along. We don't want to do the whole packets if nobody's interested, but sometimes just the agenda helps. So I will call the meeting to order at this time and take a roll. So, Isla? Yes. Arlene?
Yes.
Don?
Here.
And Larry?
Here.
So with all members present, note at the back of the room is the Open Meeting Act on one of those tables. And we have the flag over here, and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is that too high? I guess it quit.
It's too high or you're too close.
Okay. I'll keep it out here. Okay. I want to tell you right off that there's some things on the agenda. We've been trying to get everything that could possibly come up and try to get them done earlier so that we can have packets done so that the council can pick up. And we had packets done Thursday night last week, which I think is probably the earliest. So therefore, there'll be some things that will come up that we'll add but we need to have them on in 24 hours before. If you come in or bring a bill in on meeting day, it's not going to be heard, it's not going to be taken care of. So the first two things are old business, and these were brought up at last month's meeting. Lowell Schroeder was here to represent the Northeast Economic Development Group. They will be implementing the repurposing of the money that was in the CBDG fund. The CBDG is a block grant kind of thing that was instituted some time ago with refurbishing of houses in the area. That's been inactive for a while. You must have somebody to manage that program, and since Crofton doesn't have anybody, Northeast will be taking that over, and we have to, we already signed an agreement for them to do that. That has been signed and the minutes verified that the vote was taken and mailed to him after the meeting last time. Then this month, because we wanted to take a look at the contracts, because it was the first time Mr. McNally had a chance to see it, was at that meeting night, and several of us. So we just wanted to do due diligence. Mr. McNally assures me these are standard contracts, no surprises. So what these are, it gives the right for the general administration of those funds and also the construction, in other words, the construction management. That means that they will oversee the construction people that take on these jobs. They have to adhere to certain federal regulations, and Northeast will see that that's done. And of course, they get a fee for it that's outlined in here, and those fees will be paid out of the CBDG funds that we have on hand. So if all of this is where we are, we will not see any general funds expense to this. This is the funds that have come in and sits in that separate bank account that dealt with that refurbishing of houses. So if do any councilmen have a question on any of that? Find anything that you're worried about in any of the contracts or anything? If not, then we could quickly move forward and entertain a motion to approve those two contracts with Northeast.
I'll make a motion to approve the Northeast Nebraska CBDG funds.
Yes, the repurposing. The contract to manage that. Okay, Larry, and you want to include both of those contracts in that motion?
Yes, I would.
Okay, Larry made a motion to approve the 2 contracts from Northeast.
I'll second.
And Arlene second. So the vote will go Don,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Arlene,
Yes.
and Isla.
Yes.
So that's an old business we can take off of our agenda. On the unfinished business, these are always there. There's always something unfinished. I have no figures from the let me think of the word. The engineer makes a design. Thank you. That was the design. The design of Ryan is in the process. And I have nothing there, and he needs figures to get to the USDA. So that's still in the process. So there's nothing there to report. So that's going to have to be tabled again and continue to be unfinished, as well as the sewer rates, because that cost is going to help determine that.
I have a question, Cheryl. Last year, if I can recollect, I think you or somebody said there was a $250,000 grant that we could probably apply for. Is that still there?
And the last time that we talked about this, I told you that I had talked with Anthony Gunther, and he said that if all of this changes, that this year there's new money in and there's a possibility of $900,000. I think we talked about that a couple months ago. Nothing is set in stone yet. They're all
But
possibilities.
is there an application that we got to fill in?
Nope, USDA's handling it.
So,
We'll have to work with USDA to make that deal, yes.
we'll
To
have
make-
to let them know that we're interested in doing it, correct?
We will apply for a loan from them.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm asking for.
Yeah.
We're gonna apply for it. Is there a deadline that we gotta do it?
We can't do it until Ryan's done with the design.
Okay,
That's all being worked on.
okay.
Okay. So the new business. There is in your packet a resetting and reaffirmation of wages. Nothing has changed. It will be noted, public notice. It's signed Lisa as the city clerk, and this is by law necessary to be published. So this will be going out. I wanted you to see it, and I don't know if do they need to approve it, or did we just, this is where we are. So this is where we are now. So this just needs to be published. It'll be sent to Brooke before too long, and we just want everybody to see it. So this is where the wages are at this time, okay? So then the next one is the resetting and reaffirmation of city fees. And this is so that you see them, you are aware of them. If you have questions, you ask. If you want to do something different, you make arrangements to do that, etc. The fee schedule is there. I had Josie, when she was in, working to make this up because we had 2 or 3 hanging on the wall, so we put them all together. And so you see the only thing that we look at changing is the camper fees. We've kicked this around with the park department several times. And always came back to it's really neat to have that $8 fee, and it's, you know. But we have the first night free. So the question is, do we want to do the second night free? Would that tend to keep people in town, or do we want them to come in, stay a free night, and move on? If they stay and buy things in the town, then give them that first or that second night free. If they just move on, we pay electricity for them to hook up. We don't have water, we don't have sewer, but we do have electricity. We had a busy couple weeks there last month. One night we had 3 campers there. We had 3 nights in a row for one. We had 4 nights in a row for one. We had one leave and come back for another 3 nights. So I saw a noticeable increase in the electric bill over there. So with everyone that stays free, we pay that extra electricity. And during the summertime, when they come, there's an air conditioner running probably. So I guess if we were going to change that, we would need a vote, because we've always had that. And that will entail then that we change the sign over there. But they're getting pretty faded, so it wouldn't hurt probably to spruce those up anyway. Okay. So open for discussion or whatever.
No, I don't know, mine ain't about the,
Let's just stay with this one
Okay.
particular
I got
one.
another
Let's
question
talk
on
about the
the
camper for this right now.
I have no question other than that.
I think it's a good idea to go with free the second night, but what about the third then?
Just one night.
Okay, they get one free night, so
Yep.
if they stay 3 nights, they pay.
Yeah, and I think there's a limit of 7 nights. I think that's what's on there. So they're only going to get 1 and 7. And the young man that was here working out at the school, you know, rewiring and all that, he left and then came back and we gave him his second free night with that next week, because he was here 2 weeks. Does that sound all right to everybody? So we probably should take a vote then that we would change that free night to the second night and update the signs. Okay? And, oh, and one other thing, I don't think, last year we were, let's just take care of that. The shelters we were paying a deposit to hold them. And we talked about this earlier, but I don't think we took a vote. So let's put that all in, that would okay this entire fee schedule. If they are reserved, we can, why not keep the $25, because we've already gone out, put the signs up, we have to pick them up, we have to pick up the trash, extra trash, etc. So $25, nobody's complained about that to have a shelter. So let's have I would entertain a motion that would say we'll have the second night free on the camper, and that we would have a charge of $25, not a deposit, for the shelters.
I'll make a motion that we have the second night free of camping, and keep the $25 for the shelter rental.
Okay? And second?
I'll second.
Don seconds it, so a vote of Larry,
Yes.
Arlene,
Yes.
Isla,
Yes.
and Don.
Yes.
Okay. So now, what else did you have? Oh,
Well, I see on the bottom of the page it says, the building permits and no permit is $50. When is the deadline? Who makes the decision? How long it's going to take to get a building permit? I mean,
they can't start building until they get a permit. That's what that means.
Well, I understand. What if it's on a Friday and they got to go all weekend? They have workers lined up and nobody can do
If
anything.
they're lined up, they should have already applied.
Who is Mike is the one that is, okay.
There shouldn't be a problem with that, because they shouldn't even have their contractors lined up till they start with the building permit.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I've sent people to you and you know, I don't worry about it. And I know you get them back in good time, I guess, because,
Best we can.
yeah, all right.
Okay? So that takes care of that.
I mean, one more thing. Is it a problem that I give them your cell phone, or do I have to call you myself?
His number is for public release. We have it in the office and give it to everybody.
All right?
Right, Mike?
I guess.
Okay. Number 3, we had a clarification, but Jonathan didn't get what he wanted. That was a miscommunication between us. But he does want to clarify the car wash deal, and that is a letter. Jonathan, do you want to talk? Do you want me to just read this letter, or do you want to talk? You want me to read it? Okay. From Jonathan Holt here, who is our police chief. It has come to the attention of the Crofton Police Department that there are concerns as to the driving the department's cruiser to Yankton for a car wash. I, Jonathan Holt, wish to seek clarification from the Crofton Town Council as to the maintenance of the department's cruisers, specifically washing and cleaning. Washing and cleaning are necessary maintenance for the cruisers in order to prevent rust, ensure clear identification, and present a professional appearance to the public. There appears to be some spots on one of the cruisers that some of the clear coat protectant is peeling away. This exposes the vehicle to rust. I personally see 4 options, but I'm open to other options. Number 1, I can continue taking the cruiser to the closest car wash regularly, which is in Yankton. I can have the personnel of the Crofton PD wash the cruiser, compensate accordingly, hourly wage, materials, etc. We can hire someone in the Crofton community if they want to regularly wash and clean the cruiser, or we can, and then regarding the peeling of the clear coat, take the cruiser to a local car body shop to reapply the clear coat. Okay, so that's his care of the car kind of comments. So anybody have a comment on that? He wants clarification. He has been going to Yankton occasionally or whatever as it needs it and running it through the car wash. It's less time and more, gets probably better cleaned than sitting on the side of the street.
Who does maintenance every 2, 3, 4,000 miles for oil change and 2,000?
Patrick does.
Well, I don't like going over to Yankton with the Crofton cruiser. I really don't. We got people like, Michael Gunther, or if the workers are too busy here,
Is he going to wash it, you mean?
wash it, go through it on a regular basis.
Where does he wash it?
Who, Michael?
Yeah.
With the hose and everything else like somebody else would.
So we could just hire him to just wash it?
Hire him to do it because you use a power washer that peels the paint off. If there's a chip, it starts peeling that behind that.
That's what he's talking about.
Right, but if you do it with a regular hose and Michael gets
Well,
a,
he's not using a power washer if he's going through the washer, is he?
well,
Doesn't everybody go through a car washer without problems with the peeling?
some do. Some get scratches on their cars because of the brushes. I've done that with my vehicle. But I would think Michael Gunther's in town here, he's a mechanic, have him go through it, have him give us a contract of every 3,000 miles, take it in, do it that way. Give him keep it in town. I mean,
Wash it every 3,000 miles?
no, wait.
We are not, I object to taking something to anybody that our people on our staff can do.
Well, they can wash cars too then. Who washes the truck?
Okay, so Larry wants it washed here. Anybody else? But let's don't mix the mechanic work with the washing. This is purely about
I'm
washing.
just suggesting it,
Yeah,
okay?
okay.
But if Boomer and Pat are washing the truck that they drive, they can wash.
I don't think they ever wash it, they just let it get dirty, right?
Well, they wash the vehicles because I see it dirty and then all of a sudden it's spotless again. And they keep it clean.
Okay.
That's what I mean,
Any other statements?
what's the other councilman think about this?
I want to keep it in Nebraska.
Does that mean,
Red-
does that mean in Crofton, or does that mean in Nebraska to take?
Brett, I think they wash cars there too.
Okay.
Keep it in town.
Let's keep everything in town local if we can.
Okay.
Eddie, you like washing cars?
I wash mine in Yankton.
We need a car wash. Economic development. We need a car wash, yeah. And it's both ways. Dale Tramp washed it a couple times just as courtesy. When Jonathan came to town and cleaned everything up as a courtesy and gave it to us, basically. But we can't ask him to do that all the time.
But if he's on a contract.
And the thing of it is, well, he's got no place except the street, and he's very conscious of what's going on, you know, and how much water it runs in the street and where it goes to. So that's something too. So we could probably contract with him if he's interested, or ask him if he wants to do it. He does it cheap, yeah.
Check with all three of them, check with Rex and Michaels and Dale, and if that's something they want to do.
Okay.
If not, we might have to go to a plan C or D.
Okay, we can do that. We can check with Dale and with Brett and with Michael.
Mike.
Yep, go. Is that okay with you, Jonathan? Is that clarified? Okay. You've answered his question. Good enough. Oh, and then this is still with the police department, number 4. It's not necessarily a request, but yes, a request but there's ammo is being purchased. We're low on certain kinds, and there was a sale on that we needed to take advantage of, but we also want everybody to know that that will include the training stuff that comes up ever so often, and any of our deputies will have access to that also, or officers. Okay?
Do I take it that Mr. Paulson is our deputy and
He'll be, I don't know when he's available.
The first week's going through the recertification process, which starts in early September.
Okay, so it'll be a little bit, but Mark still works with
No,
us.
I understand, but so how many hours is a deputy, I mean, you're putting in, what, 40 hours, is that right? And then,
It depends on what we need. It
well,
varies.
on a regular basis, you're
I
getting
schedule myself for 40 hours.
40 hours, okay? So how many hours is a part-time gonna be working? And I'm not trying to tell you exactly, but give me approximate how many hours are, I wanna keep our town safe with a lot of riffraff running around.
The part-time officer would be working less than 40 hours on schedule.
20, 25 hours possibly?
Probably closer to 24, 3 8-hour days or.
Okay, that's fine.
And that'll be clear as we work on the budget this month.
That's fine.
Because we'll budget a certain amount of money in there for that too. Okay, economic development budget. That arrived at our office on Thursday. Alan, did you want to say something about that?
As I said in my cover letter, we're also asking for $700 out of this current fiscal budget for economic development. For we can purchase a computer and a program that we also need with that appropriate computer. You'll notice that to be on the I'm assuming you all got your papers here. On the sales tax received from 10/1/18. So sales tax received from 10/1/19 to 9/30/2020. And it says in the budget monies for computer. That's going to come out of this year's money, economic development money. Nothing, no money from the city, it's just out of economic development.
That's out of the lost account,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
And also, if you want to go back up to the expenses on the top there, I estimated the 12 months to be at the lowest month that we receive money. That would be where everybody was shut down per se. I use that figure times 12, it comes to $14,370. And we also budgeted $2,000 to offset the director's wages per year. And we're going to pay for the travel expense, $500 a year for that. And then the rest of the budget is recruiting, marketing, grants, and retention, $10,934. And we'll pay the Northeast Nebraska economic development dues of $936. We'll take that out of the lost account also. That leaves us with that's what our budget is for this year, okay?
That's for this upcoming year, right? 2020 to 21, the next upcoming year.
That's for,
Okay.
yeah, October 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2021.
Okay.
That's the $2,000 going to offset the wages. We'll pay up to $500 travel expense for going to meeting. Erin would have been here, but she's not feeling like too good. Her council take it out, and they broke open on her.
Yeah.
She ended up in the
Rough
hospital,
weekend.
and she got taken pretty easy. Though. I talked to her today with. I did most of the talking. She did the listening, and she can't hardly talk. She needs a couple of days of good rest, so she needs. But we'll also pay the Northeast Nebraska out of the lost account.
Okay, and Alan, and appreciate that. I tried to, I wasn't very good at explaining that, but on that interlocal agreement that that goes in with the budget to the state. Let's start with this. We have an amount of money, each house is, or each property has an assessed value at the county. Then they divide that value by 100. So for every one of those hundreds, we get X amount of taxation, of assessment of tax. So we've kind of gone onto this 0.50 for a couple, 3 years. I know that, well, in actually doing this, I find that it is actually 0.45. It's 45 cents, not 50 cents. And you only get that extra 5 cents if you have enough expenses that is tied to interlocal agreements. And these are you can call
Well, if you
them.
want to pay, go right ahead.
Well, hang on. But when we get that 5 cents, if we have enough money there to pay it, we did. One of the ending entries, and I looked that up, was that we transferred money out of the general and paid those last year on those closing entries. Okay? So that's an option. See, if we might as well have that 50 cents, but if we're going to get it for that reason, then we need to use it there. So I appreciate the fact that, but then that's the money you can use elsewhere. Okay. So I think what we want to do is say, the board would say, yes or no, this all looks really good, and then let's work this into our budget, because that'll be coming up this month as we work on it. And then we can, if you and I can talk back and forth about where we can make some of those adjustments, if we're going to pay that, note your carryover funds, that account number 3333, that's an equity fund. So whenever you have the 3,000s, those are equities. The 2481, if you guys look at your balance sheets, and we've been handing them out every month, but they'll change because I keep saying that we keep working with Eddie, and this is a really difficult thing for me to explain if you're not looking right at it. But there is equity, which is what we own. Those equity accounts, those equity is what's left in every fund at the end of a year. Then you take your profit and loss and add or subtract it into or out of that equity fund. They're done a little differently than just plain businesses, which just lists them separate. They actually take the profit and loss and put it into the equity. If you look at your balance sheets, none of those equity funds have changed for the entire fiscal year. The reason is because we have not used the closing tools until we get those accounts adjusted that need adjusted, because once we use the closing tools, we have to do a whole different process. And Eddie and the two girls that work with us have been in there helping to change some of those and get the figures right. The payroll is the big one. Some of the expenses, some of the benefits that go to our workers, like they're paying their insurances and so forth, was actually going into the gross wage. So when the closing tools ran, they were paying retirement benefits and on the insurance premiums. They were also paying withholdings on that, Social Security, etc. So that, and then remember that we have 3 months of the calendar year, last calendar year, 2019, that's in this fiscal year. So if we change that to make it right, we mess up what was reported to IRS. So we have clerk books working on it, we have IRS working on it, and we have the auditors okay in every step we move. So those tools are close to being used, but, and I have avoided saying this because I don't want to sit here and say, well, these are all messed up, but there are some areas of those books that are all messed up. And if you don't believe that, then you deal with the IRS man when he walks through the door. So the comments that I've heard recently about, well, we'll work forever and can't get it done, when you have 3 years that they were done wrong and we try to fix it in 2 months, because that's what Lisa's been here and we've been trying to make those adjustments. Okay?
You're saying that for 3 years they were distributed to the wrong accounts, the payroll and...
We're trying not to go back past last year.
Okay, well then let's get to
And what, yeah, and we're trying to just adjust that quarter to make it work with the other on the calendar year. And so far, the auditors are willing to do that. IRS has made noises that they will too, as long as, you know, because they don't care what we pay them. That's our problem, whether they pay too much on in retirement and stuff, except it is, you have to make it, you have to make a match somewhere. So that if they already matched, then that's fine, but we need to get them turned around so we're not continuing to do it. It made a considerable amount of money take-home difference to our guys.
But they'll accept, the IRS will accept the mistake that was made.
So far, as long as we're working with them.
Even worse, these guys have to pay taxes on that money.
Say that again, Diane.
Are you saying that if they were overpaid, like with retirement included, et cetera, and then they paid Social Security or whatever taxes, withholdings on that, there's not a reimbursement, or the IRS is just going to say that's okay?
Well, it's okay with them because we declared it as wages.
Well, yeah, but...
So then it comes down to, you know, what do we owe them? What do we owe our workers where it should have been withheld instead of, you know? So that's, and if we can work that out, then we're, you know, and if IRS will let us do it without double.
On a payback.
Yeah, yeah. So, and it's just the way that the clerk book's tools double whammied it. It wasn't anybody's fault. It's just, unless you can fault the machine and however the numbers went in, you know, so, but when we started doing the 941s last year and We had a couple of lines that were exactly the same, and like I said, that can't be right because we got an IRA. You know, and you got to pick that up before you do the withholding. So then we start doing it. And that copy of the cafeteria plan was not even in the office. So we got that from Colonial Life. And so see, that was tax-free, and we weren't doing that because it wasn't in there. So everybody will be happier. It'll cost the city less, the guys will get more take home out of less money, IRS will get less. So it'll be a happy deal once we get it done. But we need to get it done before the budget for next year, of course, so we're more back. And like I said, if we can get that, we got another one today just came in that was another one from IRS, so we haven't even had time to look at it. So it's another quarter of trying to juggle. So I saw they had ins and outs both on.
Are we going to have a vote on if it's accepted the budget or not?
Okay, so if we accept the budget as you have it, I just wanted to point out to you that that equity fund there may be different. That 2481, that's what was there. But I see you also took the income and put it, so that's what would happen with the closing tools. You'd take your income or loss and put it in and out of it. So I think you're right on anyway. But that 2481 was at the first of our fiscal year.
So that figure could be different, you see what I'm saying?
It will be in our books at the end of the year, but you've already added your income. See, that's what happens to the equity at the end of the year, or at the end of each month, it actually pops in there.
Yeah.
And we haven't closed that to see it, but you've got all the income there.
Yeah.
So you should be pretty close.
So you're
The only thing, I looked at your second page there, you've asked this to go into the city's budget. The second page is what you asked the city to budget for economic development that is not lost funds, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you have 20 hours a week for 52 weeks. And when we signed on with Darren, we agreed on 10 hours a week.
What?
10 hours a week. It's 20 hours of paper.
Well, we discussed this as a board, and we feel that for a lot of times that she needs to work. I'm not saying it's going to be 20 hours a week, maybe up to 20 hours a week.
But we can consider that in the budget then.
Up to 20 hours a week, that way she's got flexibility. If a meeting pops up, she's got to go to it. Then she just run more than the 10 hours.
Okay, we can.
And we're offsetting that wages by $2,000 too there, so.
But that's not very many hours.
Well, the hours, we feel that 20 hours is an adequate number. As a board, we feel that. Up to 20 hours, not over 20 hours, for sure. But it gives her some flexibility in there. When there's work to be done, she got to have time she can do it then.
Okay. And then that, at the bottom, that Knox County Economic Development, and see if that would be included in all of that interlocal. There's 3 of them, Knox County, state, and...
No, that's just Knox County.
Okay, but that was in the interlocal also, so that's not a problem if we get that 5 cents.
This would be what you guys,
Yeah.
city would pay, yes.
Yeah.
We'll pay the northeast.
Well, okay.
But we'll pay the northeast and, what else did I have down there? We pay the northeast and we pay the travel expenses and the $2,000 offset the wages. And then we got $10,934 for recruitment, marketing, grants, and retention.
So,
They're pretty well covered everything we will be doing in economic development.
so in the past, there has been an economic development in that they were called special funds. And then there was economic, and then under that was TIF, and there was the CBDG, and those were all, and then those lost accounts were just kind of kept out in the cold, and they were never identified. So, as I looked at all of this in this month, I thought we still are going to have an economic development in the general fund, then, because if you're gonna keep the lost accounts separate,
The lost account is.
then we're gonna have to still budget and an economic development fund. So, we probably aren't gonna do away with that account on the sheets. Because we don't want to just have it out of the general fund in general. We want to know where it's going. And we've been breaking those up so that we know exactly where everything is. You know.
So you're not asking for a vote on this then?
I don't know whether we want to vote to accept this premise because figures may change if we pay the different, you know, if we pay that northeast, or if you want to just wait for the vote and vote it in with the budget that we put the budget.
That should be part of it.
Should be part of the entire budget. So we're going to have to approve it as we approve our final budget.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Could we approve the $700 to buy the computer
That's out
out
of
of
this
this
year.
fiscal year?
Yeah, we
Out
can
of
do.
this-
That's what I thought too,
Yeah,
because
right.
that's this fiscal year.
If we could get that done for them so they can get their computer.
Yeah, we can get that. I can send Aaron over the Anthony to.
Well, then what we can do is just include that on our list of payments tonight, can we? Can we just vote to approve that on our, so Lisa, just make a note on our invoice list that we'd pay tonight if we approve this. So let's have it, does someone want to make a motion that we approve tonight, how much was it?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve for the economic development to purchase the computer for $700. That includes your programs?
Yes.
Is that, okay,
Yeah, I would.
or up to that?
The reason that we're looking at the computers because to be our economic development computer and Aaron would quit.
You need it. Yeah, you need one.
Here's all the information we got.
Yep,
It's all in one place, right there. It'd be a good asset for us.
yep.
If we could get that approved, like you said, Aaron down to work out how you guys do. Take it out.
Well, if we just put it on our list to approve tonight too, but let's take a vote to approve this individually, if you will. You made the motion, any second?
I'll second it.
Second by Larry. Get back to my... So we would start with... Isla.
Yes.
Okay. And Don?
Yes.
And Larry?
Yes.
And Arlene?
Yes.
Okay. So that approves the computer, and then we'll just, because of...
Yeah, I'll have Aaron stop down and work out the details with.
Okay, sounds good.
Take care.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. On item 6, the American Legion called, Mr. Kleinsman called and said that he wanted on the agenda for 2 liquor licenses. And he named them specifically, one's at St. Rose, one's here, it's for 2 weddings, I think, or celebrations of some sort. The Denigers and the Petersons. However, we don't have, he never brought any paperwork in. And I don't know, I've never handled those, Kathy always handled those, but they have to present us with application.
Could be an application.
And I talked with him once because there was 4 laying here, and I called him and he said, well, I'm glad you called us because all of those have been canceled. But I think in the past, they've always hired Kathy or Mr. Hendrickson's office or someone to prepare those for them, and they're kind of at a loss, and we're at a loss because we can't prepare them for them. We can't do it. So I tried to call Mr. Kleinsmith today, but I didn't get him. So I don't know, but I think these dates were far enough out that if they'd hurry up, even if we, I mean, I'd be willing to accommodate him with a quick meeting if we don't want to mess this up, but, and when I talked to him, he understood that they had to do that. He just said, well, we've always had them do it, so there's nothing we can do. They didn't come in. So if something comes up. So number 7 is the ordinance that is for the,
Yeah, this was prepared because if somebody wishes to own garbage, they can do it, but they have to take it to a certified landfill. The state statute provides that everybody in town is subject to the garbage fee unless they can prove that they dispose of it properly at a certified landfill. And they provide that the cities and villages and the state can provide rules and regulations. And this ordinance is set forth the rules and regulations by which people who wish to may dispose of their own garbage so long as they take it to a certified landfill. To adopt this, you first have to waive the rule for reading it on 3 separate occasions, vote on that, and then somebody needs to move for adoption of the ordinance.
okay, so, but I think we have to read it once by title, is that correct?
Well,
This would be ordinance number 8, what's today? 8320. And the ordinance says, it's an ordinance of the City of Crofton, Knox County, Nebraska, establishing rules and regulations for governing collection and disposal of solid waste within the City of Crofton, providing penalties for failure to comply with such rules and regulations, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date. So, having read the title, I would ask for a motion to waive reading the ordinance on 3 separate occasions.
I'll make a motion that we waive reading the ordinance 3 times.
Okay, so Arlene makes a motion to waive the reading on 3 separate occasions. And
I'll second.
And Don seconds it. And I'll start with Don.
Yes.
And Larry.
Yes.
And Arlene.
Yes?
And Isla.
Yes.
Okay, now we need,
Well, I got a question before
Okay.
we go any further. Mr. McNally, let's just get a hypothetical case. Let's say I'm not gonna use the city landfill or a city garbage rate. Now, I just take it out here to my uncle, my dad, my brother, or somebody, and just dump it out there. Now, you said that they're supposed to take it to a licensed landfill. They personally are, or can they dump it? Can I dump it to my dad's or brother's?
No.
So now how are we going to, every time he's got a garbage, somebody's got to make sure he goes, or we got to call to find out where he's dumping it?
No, the ordinance provides that when he takes his trash to a certified landfill, we have to give him a receipt for it, and he brings the receipt in and gives it to the city clerk.
and it's in that ordinance.
But now, if he does that, and we get,
If he doesn't do it, then he has to pay the regular garbage fee to the city of Crofton, even though he takes it out to his uncle or his brother, wherever he is, he still has to pay the garbage fee to the city of Crofton.
does he still have to follow the rules of the rest of the citizens?
Yes.
Once a week, it's got to be off his premises?
Right.
What do you mean off his premises?
Can't build it up by his house?
Yeah, right.
That's what I'm asking?
Yeah.
It's all outlined in this ordinance.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure everybody.
It's pretty technical.
The idea is that the city contracts with a garbage provider that provides the service. If they cannot, and the reason cities do that, I'll give you, for instance, in Stanton, where I used to live, one would think that we all were real happy because the city was not going to sign up with any garbage service. We said, oh good, we get to pick our own garbage service because there's 3 or 4 in the area. So we should, out of that competition, have cheaper rates than what we could get if we had to pay the city. Well, that didn't happen. There's 3 or 4 there. And I believe that I was paying 30 or 35, and I believe they're paying 45 for the same size tote that we're paying 17. If there's nothing, see, they have to do all the billing and the loss of gathering. What they do is give us reduced rates because we do the billing along with our water, we collect, etc. So they can provide that service cheaper. So it's a great asset to us. So we need to make sure that everybody participates, pays their bills, and they give senior rates. And by the way, if anybody's 65, we're catching some that are still paying the regular rates. So you get senior rates once you get to that golden year, people. Be sure you let us know. Yeah.
Sure, I just want to clarify. So Mr. Cootie took his out to his dad's place, and he is contracted with the garbage service to take it to a licensed landfill.
Doesn't matter, he has to take it himself.
Okay,
And then he has to bring a receipt back to us every time he dumps.
good, because otherwise you're going to have everybody taking it out to somebody else.
Absolutely, absolutely. I said, you know, I mean, Mr. Cook could take his personal garbage down to his business and not pay us. I mean, you'd have the whole town taking it somewhere.
I paid it anyway, yeah.
Yep,
Gotta do it.
good. I'm glad to hear the positive. Something else I want to say about that.
On the senior rates, is there a certain size of container
They sometimes they can put a smaller one there. And they give you senior rates because they assume you collect less garbage. So it is a smaller tote. I've been paying senior rates since I got here, and they never brought a different tote, but they also know that I don't put it out there every week because half the time it's got nothing in it if I recycle.
I know some people that are paying senior rates and they have a 90-gallon.
Which is a bigger one.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine is too. They just don't expect you to fill it. They pay based on what you put in there. So if they're short of senior totes, they're going to give you a regular size tote. The other thing that comes up occasionally, we have one now, that somebody has consistently put a box or two out there in addition to their tote, and they want you to have that additional tote for $9 or whatever it is. So we have put that out, you know, we've told the customer they need to get an extra tote. They'll pick them up if it's just once, you know, or now and then, but we can't expect them to just pick up extra all the time.
They notify you of that?
Yeah, they notify. We send them in how many we've got on the route, and they double check it, and how many seniors, how many everything. One of those time-consuming things. Okay. We're good on all that.
You got to vote on this, don't you?
Yeah, we need a motion to adopt the ordinance number 83-2020.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 83-2020.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Larry, second by Arlene to adopt ordinance number 83-2020 relating to the collection of garbage. So the vote should be Larry?
Yes.
Arlene?
Yes.
Isla?
Yes.
And Don?
Yes.
Okay. So the number 8 was, we didn't know if we would be ready for any kind of approval on a survey or finishing up that topical whatever on Northside Acres, and they're not ready for it. So they're still, the planning and zoning is still looking for it. So we're going to table that. We need a motion to approve the invoices which you have in your packet, and notice that you will have those, and I think I had to put in bold across the top that these are to be approved on this meeting. We will not be giving estimates to confuse. McNally talked about that last time. So this, in the minutes of this, as the minutes are done, we will show what was approved at the meeting, and then what had been pre-approved and paid during the month.
And see the actual.
And so you'll see the actual with no estimate.
And we'll see that when after the.
It'll be on the same sheet as your minute. It'll be with the minutes. That will be, the minutes show what was approved, and then we'll get to that just next. But these will be just approval for what we have to pay.
That was that.
It's with your minutes, Larry. It's right after your minutes of last meeting.
These were the things. This is what I'm saying. Here's the July. That's this one, right here. The June ones are here. So we should have the July pre-approved ones here. They're not here. We don't have the July 6th
Okay.
actuals.
Okay, can we approve this month's payment? Let's see. Let me find them. Says claims to be approved August 3rd in bold at the top.
The top, those.
Okay,
Those
this is what we need to approve for tonight,
Right.
okay?
So we should have the one.
Let's do this first, and then I'll show you where the others are.
Okay.
The claims to be approved for August 3rd, can I have a motion to approve those payments? And these are written out the way they will be in the minutes when they go to the newspaper, because we're doing the long charts, and then we have to convert over. So the box that has all the invoices in, you guys can come in early and go through every invoice, and they're all connected right there to that. Okay? So this is the list, who we pay and how much.
I have a question on the recycle it. What is it?
The what?
Recycle IT?
Oh, the recycle is the, what I was telling you today, Don, when we picked up the old computers and stuff and took them over to the recycle. We took all of the equipment. There was 2 towers and a laptop. There was a copy machine, some old ink, all of that. And they went to a Recycle It is a place. The guy, what's his name? Jim. He's an older gentleman, has a long hair with a ponytail, gray hair. He works at Walmart, and some of his friends have started a recycle of all this. It's out on Highway 50 in the back of one of those. It's a brown building. I can't remember. Josie said what was next to it. But anyway, and while we're on that, I'll make that explanation, because there's one there for me, and that's for Josie. She cleaned all that out and cleaned out file drawers and put stuff in the basement and did some cobweb cleaning and typed up some of this stuff and redid posters. So she put in a day and a half. And so I paid her an ungodly amount for 22 hours because I judged my thing and threw it in the adding machine. And then I got home and said, whoops, I paid you 10 hours too many. So I would ask for a reimbursement of what I paid her, but she was heading back to Oklahoma, so I wanted to get her paid. And the rest of it, I just gave it to her, so wedding present late. So, so that's the $178.50, and I paid her. Lisa, do you remember? It's 14. Yeah, that's what. Oh, that's yes. It was $14. It was that part-time wage, 14, and I didn't take anything out for whatever. We just pay our flat fee for cleaning and.
You can call it contract labor.
Yeah. What was it? 12 hours? 10 hours? She worked 8 or 9, and then another 4 or 5 the next day. This is 12 and something, I think. So that's what that is. Any others?
We're getting
Dirt from Marcel Kramer, is that correct?
Apparently, yes.
Is it, where's moving?
That's what the window,
Is it sandy dirt or is it black dirt?
it's like,
What about that stuff that you guys hauled out on that property? What's that?
that's just black dirt.
That out here by Keaton, or Kelly Hodgson's property? That was not black.
No, that's that sandy dirt, that's from up here.
Yeah, you have to have clay for the window.
The windrow is expensive. We do it, it hasn't been done for 3 years, so we knew that. That was in the budget. We knew it was coming. And it's laid a lot of streets so far, so. Any other questions?
I'll make a motion to pay the claims.
Okay, motion by Don to pay claims. Second?
I'll second.
Second by Arlene. Start with Arlene.
Yes.
Isla.
Sure.
Don.
Yes.
And Larry.
Yes.
Okay. And then in that, now it says we shall amend or whatever, or approve the minutes. So if you will look at,
You were going to show us where the...
yeah, well, I guess you don't,
See that first.
okay. Let me find it in. At the end, I had, with the order we had them in, and you probably shuffled them, but these are the minutes, and right after the minutes is a two-part thing here. Yeah,
No, this is not right, Cheryl, because these are the ones that were pre-approved in July 6th.
no, these are estimated claims.
Right? We
Okay.
approved the pay there. So,
But they're estimated, Larry.
well, these were estimated too.
No. Yes and no. These are pre-approved
Yeah.
and paid in June.
How about where's the ones in July? that we paid? These are June.
They'll come in August meeting.
And it's August right now. It's August meeting right now.
We're always a month behind.
This was the August meeting, so they should be down here. And they
No,
weren't.
we're not going to do two of them on there.
No.
We're doing two on this one.
No.
These are claims approved in
They
July.
all line up with this year.
Okay,
They
these
all
are,
line up with, just hang with me here. I gotta find-
okay,
All these here are these. And we're all.
that's July, and that's that.
July.
Mhm.
This June is what we pre-approved in June, and these are the actual payments.
Right.
Now, where is July's, and these are the pre-approved
They'll
ones.
be with the minutes, like these are. So,
So we don't know what
because,
actual payments were in this.
because we were still paying them as the last of the day. Those are these pre-approved pay. So we're 1 month behind. So the July will be, these are approved. See, these are approved, they're not paid.
I realize that.
These are,
These were too, and this was July, and this is June.
yeah.
June and July.
Because these will always be 1 month later behind before this. Okay?
We'll see if that happens.
Yeah, we'll see if it works. Well, but you agreed that what we paid on the claims list, and this claims agreed with, yes, with the ones we approved.
Exactly.
See, we approve them and then we pay
But I didn't approve them, so I voted no. There's 3 of them that voted
them.
no.
Okay. Well, they were approved.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the minutes are there for
July 6th.
the July 6th, and then there's also minutes for July 15th.
I got an amendment, and it's July 6th. It's on the 3rd page. It's second paragraph. And it says, I won't read the whole, I'll just read what I think needs to be changed here, because I heard it and it ain't what it said here. It says the committee feels that the lost local option sales tax money,
Oh, wait a minute, I'm on the wrong page because I'm not following you.
third page, second paragraph.
One,
Says the committee feels that the lost local option sales tax money should not be used to pay wages of the economic development director. Now, what was said,
I'm still not finding it, I'm sorry. It's not at the beginning of the paragraph.
it's in the middle of it, or down a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So what it should say is the Crofton Economic Development Plan requires the local option sales tax money should not be used unless recommended by Economic Development Committee, then be approved by the City Council. That needs to be put into the minutes.
The committee feels that the lost option sales tax money should not be used to pay wages of economic development director. That's what your question?
What they said was Crofton Economic Development Plan requires that the local option sales tax money should not be used unless recommended by the Economic Development Committee and then be approved by the city.
Okay, let me say this, Larry, and we can hold this up if you want to. But they believe that has not been a proven statement. If you want to give me the plan itself, exactly how it's stated, if somebody wants to give me that, then we can put that in there. Either way, it's an interpretation. But what it boils down to is that the committee does not want the wages to be paid by the economic director out of the lost. But they also have already given us $2,000 back tonight. So that's being
But they recommended that they would give it to us and we got to approve it. That's what it says right here, what I'm going to say. They recommended that they're going to give us $2,000 to pay the wages.
right.
And it does not say that in here.
Didn't say it did. I said that but it doesn't say that they can't do it. What you're saying is that their plan says they can't pay it. I don't want to have this argument again. Alan?
What?
The committee, do you have a problem with the minutes saying that the committee feels that they shouldn't pay that? Isn't that a true statement? The committee feels that the wages should not be paid out of lost account in total.
Unless recommended by the board, Economic Development Board. There's no expenditures that can be made unless okayed by our board. That comes out of lost account. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, if you read on, it says, although state statute specifically states that wages of a director are a legitimate expense to be paid from those funds, and although that has been the history of the wages of all of the directors to date, the committee feels that they would like those wages to be paid from the city's general funds, and that all lost account funds be preserved for proposed projects of the committee. I don't see a problem with that needs change, but are you objecting to that, Alan?
Well, what we said was that the $2,000 cannot be taken out unless approved by Economic.
Okay, the only way we're going to prove this one way or another that I can see is if we quote the stinking thing of the economic development, the plan. If we're going to say it says this, then we need to quote that in there. If you want me to quote it in there, then I can do that.
Well, aren't the minutes supposed to reflect what was said? Okay, and then that's what we were saying as a board. No money can be expended out of there unless approved by the Economic Development Board.
Yeah,
we're talking about $2,000.
The minutes are supposed to
We then in turn had our meeting and we approved the $2,000.
Okay.
Now it's okay.
Okay, but what you're telling me is that that's a legal judgment. You're saying that the minutes should reflect what was said. The discussion was had, and I don't think we ever completely agreed, and I'm not saying that, and the minutes don't say that I was right or you were right. It just said you felt this way, and that's what we'd go forward with. Now, if we're going to make that a hard, fast rule, then we need to look at that statement again and then make that statement and then put it into the minutes. But we did not have that.
Well, you don't put stuff in the minutes just because a later decision. You
That's
talk
right.
when it does that at the meeting. And I did not say that.
And that was not quoted at the meeting. So we can't put it in there that it's hard coded back, because I
don't want to argue about it. I
Exactly.
don't want to argue about it.
Okay,
At all.
okay.
I'm tired of it.
So he doesn't want to argue. Do you want to argue, Larry? No. Okay. Can we approve the minutes? It's what happened at the meeting. There was no proof of anything done. There was not a legal decision made one way or another, so we can't put anything legal in there. I said they feel, and this is what happened. That's what, there was a discussion. If you want the economic development agreement, or what you are saying says that we can't spend them that way, then we will publish that. We'll put it in the minutes and publish it. But we want that statement made so that it is clear to the entire board and public that that's what you're quoting. And you know, Donna said that that was unique to Crofton. It didn't go along with the state. If it's that unique, then we need to publish it.
Doesn't the Economic Development Board have to bring a proposal of spending too hard?
Yes,
to
they
city
do.
council? I think that's all they want in there.
No, they want us to say that they can't pay they object to the fact that I said they feel instead of that's the truth. If I'm reading this right. That's what Larry said, that should say that that's what the plan says. If the plan says, then let's quote the plan. But that was never shown to me, nor proven to me, and if it's too harsh, it goes against state, and then they can't have it anyway. So they want to be careful, Robel. You can't have a city that overcomes the state. And the state says that the economic development can be paid out of that. So if you want the money to pay whatever you want to pay, then the only people that can okay these bills up here is the city council. So you can make all the recommendations you want to, but you can't dictate. That's the only difference here. Am I right, Mr. McNally?
Yes, sir.
The city council controls the city's money. And I don't care if it's in economic development, if it's in a lost fund, if it's in the general property tax, if it's in restricted highway, they have to be paid for highway. But you know what? We still tell which bill gets paid out of there. And if we do it wrong, we're the ones that go up before the auditors. We're the ones that stand for and we try to do it right. So we're not going to sit here and say that we're going to thumb our nose at the state.
Cheryl, I think what they're trying to say is what we're doing tonight with the planning and zoning. They recommend to you, correct? And now they're not agreeing with, and they're going to object to it, so now you're sitting as a board of adjustment. So it's the same principle. They're going to come up with the ideas, present them to you, and yes, you have the final decision. But they want you to recognize that you need to talk to the Economic Development Committee before the funds come out of the sales tax of economic development. That's all they're trying to say. That's what they're trying to say.
What he just told me was that he wanted it in there that they could not pay the economic development director out of the sales tax, that was a no-no. If you make it that hard fast, then it's not a recommendation. So, and with that said, can we just either approve the minutes or deny the minutes, but they need to be approved at some point. So I'm not willing to say that to have a picky change of statement about who has power here. I said that the economic development feels this, that that's what they would like to do. I think that's an honest statement. The minutes are stated. As it was discussed, there was nothing hard fast as far as the planning and zoning and the Board of Adjustments. That's in the ordinances. We can set as to make that decision. So it's not just a one time we feel like we can do it. Okay, board, council members, do you want to vote on the minutes? Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'm going to make a motion to approve the minutes of the July 6th meeting.
Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
Isla? Okay. We'll start with Isla vote.
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Arlene?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And again, this goes with the minutes. These will become part of it. This is what was approved to pay. This was what paid the month before the meeting. They were pre-approved. So those bills were still being finished out today, and those will become part of the minutes for this meeting. The minutes for July the 15th. This was concerning, I forgot, this was about the liquor license for the Pump the Smoke Signal. And it was a pretty short meeting. It involved a public hearing. If you've had a chance to read that, I'd entertain a motion to approve the July 15th meeting.
I'll make a motion that we approve the July 15th meeting.
Okay, motion by Isla, second by
I'll second.
Arlene. Don?
Yes.
Larry?
Abstain.
Arlene?
I said yes.
Oh, no, this is a vote. You second.
Yes.
Yes. Isla?
Yes.
And so the motion carries. Okay. So that's the business at hand. Let's look at what's next. Okay. Within this, we don't have to close this meeting. We'll keep it open. Okay. So within this meeting, we now want to open a meeting of the Board of Adjustments. And according to our city code, the city council can sit as a Board of Adjustments. So what has happened is Mr. and Mrs. Bossman have applied for a building permit that would add a porch to the front of their house. In the measurements, they come, is it 2 feet? 4 feet? 3 or 4 feet. Too close to the sidewalk, which is the front yard. You've got to have so many feet, 25-foot setback, is that right? So the planning and zoning, going by the planning and zoning regulations, cannot approve that. So then Mr. Bossman was informed that he could then apply for a variance. And he did all that paperwork, paid the fee, and he got statements from his neighbors, and you all have that. That should be in your packet. Okay? So basically what the neighbors, is it okay if I summarize this? Basically what the neighbors said was that it just fit in with theirs and there was no objection. Is that right? Would you like to say anything?
One of the neighbors further down the block, before the ordinance of 25 feet was in place, has a deck like we want to build that's 21 feet from the
Okay, and so that takes care of that 4-foot difference, basically, yeah. So
there gonna be a roof
as
on
a
that?
Board of Adjustments, we can ask, this opens the Board of Adjustment hearing kind of thing. You can ask questions, whatever you want, and then,
No, Don, there won't be, there'll just be a regular, just an active regular.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that, Don. Any other questions?
I have one question.
Sure.
When we discussed this earlier, just since we have Mr. McNally here to speak to it, when we first paid the regular building permit fee, and then upon denial, we paid a second fee for the variance to be looked at. You and I, as the talk show, you didn't know for sure if one of those could be reimbursed, or if they were just, I mean, you just paid it.
I didn't know. Mike, you've got that information. He says no, there's a fee for each one. It's,
We just went over everything. That's
Yeah.
fine.
yeah, and that was just my ignorance because I didn't have
No, that's fine.
anything.
We don't deal with it all the time.
Yeah. Hopefully, we put that on that fees chart that we're trying to clarify.
Yeah.
Yep, right here it is. You have the building permit, which is 40, or conditional use, non-compliance $100, variance applications 50, zoning district changes 50, administrative plat is 50, preliminary plat is 100, temporary use permits 25, and no permit is 50. Yeah.
The motion would be to approve the variance or to deny the variance.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to approve the variance or deny the variance.
I make a motion to approve the variance.
So Don has made a motion to approve, seconded by Larry. And I will call on Larry first.
Yes.
Arlene,
Yes.
Isla,
Yes.
and Don.
Yes.
So, we can close the meeting of the Board of Adjustments and move on to the adjournment of the council. If there's no other business.
Well, you've got the financial papers here, and I have a question on that. And we don't have it on the agenda.
Let's go with the paying of the bills, that's why it's there.
Well, this does not have to do with paying the bills, what I'm going to ask you. Back on the balance sheet, number 3720 on the sewer. Back in October 31st, 2019, you had $220,029.01. That is carried all the way over to June 30th of 2020.
As are all of those funds which I explained earlier, because we have not used the closing tools.
So how do we know how much
The
we
profit and loss
got?
has not gone into that equity fund.
So-
If you take your equity fund and add your profit from each of that fund, you'll have what's in there. If there was a loss, take it away
So are
from
we
the equity.
closing, we're not closing the books each month for 9 months?
I just explained that some time ago, Larry. If you want to come and talk to me and sit down at the computer, I'll show you what happens,
I'd
and
like
we'll
to,
talk
how come
to.
we can't close the books, Cheryl? This is wrong. This is wrong right here, because you won't have an accurate piece of paper here.
Larry, did you hear that whole discussion about?
Yes, I did. I heard
About
it.
the payroll and about.
I heard that, Cheryl.
That is an
We're going
excellent.
on 2 years now that we don't have.
No, we have not been on 2 years. You just talked about
You've
it.
been a mayor 2 years.
You're talking about an entry at the beginning of this last fiscal year.
So when are we gonna make this adjustment at the end of the year then? 90 something entries?
There are no adjusting entries so far because we've done the books right. How's that for an answer? And it's a catty answer, and I'm sorry about that. But if you went through those 4 pages of adjustments that were so hard to follow, that's because things were put in the wrong fund. We're trying not to do that. I just explained a while ago that we have just not run the tools that close those books, so we don't lock them out, so we can't make the adjustments before that closing entry. We don't want to have to pay Eddie 2 days of adjustments to write something that we could do right, and we need to get, number one, the payroll done right before we do anything else. I'll entertain the motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
Isla?
Yes.
Arlene?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Thank you. We are adjourned.